Welcome to the Immerse podcast. We are your hosts, Dan Ramsden and Alex O'Keefe.
Join us and our guests as we dive into real stories of entrepreneurship, health, fitness and self-mastery. No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations that inspire, educate and challenge the norm. Let's get into it. Right guys, welcome to another episode of the Immerse podcast. I've been excited about this one. We've got the man, Adisa Banjoko.
How you
the
living,
Bishop.
Guys? Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
All the way from California.
San Jose.
San Jose Bay.
We're in the building.
Thank
Definitely
you.
different, this one.
This
Shout
is
out
different.
to Shark City. Everybody in Shark City, what's up? We out here. You know what I'm saying?
This has come at a really magical time. When Dan first said that you were coming on, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then, so just to kind of let everybody know, kind of your three sort of main areas is jiu-jitsu, chess, and hip-hop.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And that is like the most interesting combination I've ever heard. And what's
Stoicism.
And Stoicism.
Yeah, Stoic philosophy,
Stoic philosophy,
Yeah,
there you go.
That's why I knew, as soon as I knew all this, I was like, I need to hook just you two up. We might as well record it while we're here, but
Let's do it.
I have to get you two guys to meet. So.
No, man, I'm happy to be here, man. Very grateful, genuinely.
I'm just going to start this on a bit of off-piste.
Whatever you want, just go. Let's do it.
Right, I'm just going to say two words.
Okay.
Right? I'm just going to see what happens afterwards. Right?
Okay.
California love.
Let's go. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to start with that.
That's right. From Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area, and back down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to be here, man. But yeah, always repping California for sure.
And there's multiple areas we're going to tap into here, mate. And one that's really piqued my interest as well is your connection with the hip-hop scene.
Yeah, for sure.
The early days of it.
Yeah.
Meeting Tupac.
Yeah.
Eazy.
That was my boy.
All these characters.
Also my boy. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to my G's, for real.
Yeah, rest in peace to the boys.
Yeah.
I was born in 92.
Okay.
But still, that is a really...
It was an epic era.
Epic.
Right? Like, it's
Epic.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe let's start there, mate.
Okay.
Your early days getting into the hip-hop scene and how that happened.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's weird because, like, how it happened really was that it was just the times, right? Like, it's easy now, looking back in those times, to be like, oh, you know, whatever, hip-hop, everybody's doing it. But it was such a new thing that if you were in America from the West Coast at that time and you were Black or Latino, you were probably involved. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of what was happening in the hood. Now, I was a suburban black kid. My parents, you know, lived in the burbs. I lived not too far from the ocean. You know, my high school was Oceana High School. That's how close I lived to the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, my high school was Oceana High School.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. I went to Oceana. Sharks, you know what I'm saying?
Shark City.
That's right. Well, Shark City is San Jose.
Okay.
Right, because of the hockey team. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But Oceana is by the ocean and also Sharks. So just part of, you know what I'm saying? Part of my journey.
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know, 1987. I'm already into hip hop. Probably got into hip hop around 1983. Started DJing with my friends. My dad really knew a lot about turntables and electronics, so he helped me get my setup going. On my 13th birthday is when I got my 2 turntables and a mixer.
That's early.
And my dad actually taught me how to scratch because he really, like, his father was one of the first black DJs in the whole Bay Area on the radio. So he knew about electronics and stuff like that. So he kind of hooked it up. But he was the first person I saw move a turntable and do that. And I was like, my dad's cool, right? And so was DJing, whatever. But then, you know, I was horrible at school. I was not interested in academic pursuits at all. And I had low self-esteem for a bunch of different reasons, which we can look into later, but like I was totally like binge drinking on the weekends, going to house parties, barely functioning. And I like a D average at best, right? So one day, my school counselor, Mr. King, he calls me in and he's like, so look, you're failing everything but English, right? You have an A in English. I was like, I love English. He's like, yeah, but everything else is like D's and F's and C minuses. So I'm putting you on the journalism squad. And I was like, I don't want to be a journalist. He's like, no, you could be a really good journalist. That was the first time somebody told me something I could be. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I still don't like it. And he was like, well, look, I just need you to write about something. And I was like, well, at Oceana, we had a killer wrestling team. We had a really good football team. We had a good basketball team. We had a good swim team. We had good tennis. But I didn't care about none of that. I was like, I don't want to write about anything at this school. He's like, well, what do you want to write about? I was like, I want to write about hip hop. He was like, sure, just please write and get out of my office. I was like, all right, cool. So ironically, that weekend, I had bought 2 singles that were brand new. One was Rebel Without a Pause that had My Uzi Weighs a Ton on the other side. And the other one, I saw the guy, I was like, because hip hop, as big as it is now, there was a time when it wasn't big. Like, people don't remember these times. But like, you had to know what record stores actually even carry this. And the hip hop section might be as like wide as that piano. Really, like 4 records
Really
wide.
niche. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this guy was like, what do you guys got? And he's like, we got Boys in the Hood by this guy Eazy. And I was like, play it real quick. So my dad's kind of walking around the record store and he puts it on. It's like, cruise down the street. And I was like, I need this. And I looked at my dad, and my dad was at the far end of the store, and he was like, no. And I was like, I know, right? Put that shit in the bag, dog. I want that fucking record. He was like, cool. So I had just got him, right? So I went home, and it had Ruthless Records, and then it, had the phone number. So I like called, and I was like, hey, what's up? And they were like, yeah. I was like, is Eazy-E there? They were like, no. I said, hey, listen, this is my exact words. I'm a big-time writer in San Francisco, and I'd like to interview Eazy. I think he's got a hit on his hands. Have him call me back. And then I left. So I went to go play basketball, right? I went to go play basketball, come back, and my mom was like, oh, a boy named Eric called for you. I said, what? Yeah, he left this number. I was like, oh my God. So I get on the phone, I'm like, boom, and he answers. He's like, hello, it's his house. Imagine if you called randomly to talk to Eminem and then like he just called you back from the house. So he's like, hello. I'm like, yes, hello. Is Eric right in? He's like, this is him. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah. So I think you got a hit on your hands, man. Boys in the Hood is a great song, and would you be interested in letting me interview you? He was like, I would love that. No one's covered us before. I was like, cool. Get off the phone, and my mom was a legal secretary for some years, and so she had all this like dictation equipment that you could hook up to phones to record shit with. So I used that, and I interviewed him for my school newspaper.
Where did that confidence come from?
It wasn't confidence. It was reckless abandon and just like, let's
Shooting
fucking
from
see
the
what
hip.
happens. Yeah, 100%.
I love it, man.
Right?
I knew
so
you'd love
he
That's
he
a bit
lets
me.
me interview him. He lets me interview him, and we totally hit it off.
Yeah.
Like, we totally hit it off.
Yeah.
We're talking like every other day for like several weeks just to do it. And because I was a DJ, I already knew who Dr. Dre was. See, Dr. Dre had before NWA, he was in a group called the World Class Wrecking Crew. I had all of their records.
I love Dre.
His first single that I knew of was called Surgery. And he had this incredible scratch. And that scratch was the standard of the time. For people who like, it was before the transforming technique had been developed. But as far as like speed and clarity, like nothing was as good as Surgery. Nothing. It was the fucking standard. If you were a DJ, that's what you were trying to match. And I was good enough to match that shit, to be honest. I'm fucking dope.
Nice.
And so, I could ask him about Easy Dre. I knew hella shit, right? Even though I'm this suburban kid, I was immersed in the pursuit of this shit. So one day he calls me and he's like, hey man, what's up? I'm like chilling. He's like, you know what? My manager Jerry wants to know, like, who do you write for? Do you write for the Examiner or the Chronicle? Those are the two main, news outlets of the time. I'm fucked.
Oceana.
I was like, okay, look, dude, I don't write for the Examiner or the Chronicle, man. I go to Oceana High School and I write for the Oceana Foghorn, bro. It's a high school newspaper, man. I'm so sorry. Like, I hope you're not mad. Like, I just really love your music and I want to write about you. I'm sorry. And he sat there for about like 2 or 3 seconds, hella quiet. And he goes, man, I don't give a fuck. Run that shit, bro. Let's do this story. He's like, no one's written about us. So I wrote the first story on Eazy-E and NWA, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And then we stayed cool. Like, he totally had every reason to be like, fuck this kid. He kept calling me. He came to town like a few weeks later or a few months later. They played at this roller rink in San Leandro that I thought was in Richmond. Like, I remembered it being in Richmond, but I found the flyer recently from the show. It was at a roller rink in San Leandro, which is just outside of Oakland. And he called me and he was like, hey, man, we got a show. You want to come? I'm like, yeah. So me and my boys go. I had been to huge hip hop shows before. They used to have this thing called the Fresh Fest. These were like stadium tours, like Run DMC, LL Cool J, Houdini, the Fat Boys, like really big tours. This was like my first like local rap show kind of a thing. Man, it was dangerous, bro. Like hood. And so like I remember like I walked up to the front. He goes, I'm gonna put you on a list, man. You come with anybody? I was like, yeah, I need me plus 2. And it was like, yeah, okay, cool, I got you. Like Dre's gonna be here, Ren. Like everybody was there except Ice Cube. Because Ice Cube's dad didn't believe that rap was gonna work, and he made him go to college. I think he went to Arizona State. Wow. So he wasn't in this part of this tour. Imagine his dad's surprise, right? And so I go, and he's like, just go to the front of the line. Dude, there is a line of hardened hood motherfuckers trying to get into the show, right? I'm looking like fucking Steve Urkel in a starter jacket with 2 of my fucking friends. My boy stole his mom's car, and we went. And so I go up to the front of the line because I don't know how this works. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, like, yo, get the fuck in the back of the line, bro. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm on the list. I'm trying to just play the role, right? And the guy's like, oh, I don't see your name, bro. Da-da-da. And I'm like, I just talked to Eazy. I know. And they're like, yo, if he's not on the list, we're going to beat his ass and take his jacket. Like, it was bad, right? And I was like, there. That's me. These are my 2, bro. Let us in. And they're like, is he on the list? He's like, they're on the list. They're like, oh, it was like some shit out of a movie. You know what I mean? And I was like, NWA. You know what I'm saying? So I go to the back, but this was before video. We didn't even know what each other looked like. We didn't know what each other looked like.
Okay.
You know, like at one point, I'll tell you the story later, but so I get that I was like, he's like, hey, what's up, Eazy? Yeah, da-da-da. So I meet Dre, and I got 2 pictures with him that day. I got one picture with just me and Eazy, and then I got a second picture with me, Eazy, Dre, Yella, Ren. Yeah, everybody. And the Arabian Prince, who was an original in the group, and then he left the group like right after they blew up. And the show was fucking incredible. Like they were an incredible group, you know. And so he asked me who it was gonna be for. I tell him nobody. We stayed cool. And then like I remember when like JJ Fad dropped, he called me. He was like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, do you live near the Circle Star Theater? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I got JJ Fad, this new girl group, man, and like they're gonna be up there with like EPMD and the 2 Live Crew. You wanna go? I'm like, yeah. Bro, I'm like 17 years old, bro. Wow. Hanging out with the 2 Live Crew, backstage, EPMD. Shit was crazy, bro. And this was before the internet. This was before even like the Source magazine or Vibe or a lot of these big mags, right? And I was just embedded in the culture, bro. And so like eventually, I ended up writing for a lot of those publications, The Source, Vibe, Rap Pages. I did a lot of first articles on different people, and it was so that would have been like 87, 80, and then like around 1990, I was working at Tower Record Store, and a friend I had met at Tower Records, his name was Brett, and he knew I rapped, whatever. So we kind of became a crew, and he knew Digital Underground. So when Digital Underground dropped their first album, Sex Packets, and I knew Digital Underground through some of their demos that had come to me through other people, just being in the culture. But when they did their album release party, their first album was called Sex Packets, and Tupac was trying to be down with them. He had a group called One Nation. I had a group called One Nation. But we were in different parts. And in those days, if you had the same name, if me and you were rappers with the same name, we would battle for the name, right? If you had
So
crews of the same name, like
it.
you would battle
Yeah.
for the name. But somehow,
Freestyle.
yeah, like we kind of knew, or you would do a show in the same space kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And just whoever the crowd liked kind of a thing. But the way I recall it, we had this idea that it was better to both stay One Nation and not beef kind of a thing. Like it was really kind of evolved, right? Like, because One Nation, the group that I had, was a conglomerate group of different people. Like DJ Qbert was DJ Disc, this guy named 12 Gauge, a group called FM20 that had DJ Qbert, Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys and Apollo. Mixmaster Mike used to live down the street from me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew all these dudes from different spaces, and we were kind of a conglomerate group, right, of One Nation. And so, long story short, Brett had kind of introduced me to the guys from that group, but then Ray Love, who really used to be in One Nation and or Strictly Dope, which was, I think, the second group that they had met me at a house party randomly. And he was like, man, you remind me of my friend Tupac. You're hella funny. And I was like, okay, cool. That didn't mean anything to me. Then like 2 years later, Brett takes me around these Digital Underground guys. The Sex Packet album release party pops off. I literally walk in early, and I see Ray Love. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? This is the guy I was telling you about. He was like, hey, what's up, man? My name is Tupac. And then somebody said, let's take a picture. And he puts his arm around me, and we took a picture. Like 3 seconds after I met him. And we became homies. But that picture is fucking iconic because if you put in Adisa, A-D-I-S-A, and you put in Tupac Shakur, you'll see that picture. And it's just me, Tupac, and we were just fucking cool from that day forward. And that party was insane. Like, Digital Underground, like, not on that weird-ass Diddy shit. Like, it was an insane fucking party because there was something about the energy of Digital Underground. And if you don't know Digital Underground, you should look up the Humpty Dance. You should look up Do What You Like. In fact, my boy Brett that I rapped with in the crew, we had a group called Freedom Troop 187. Our old ass album is on Bandcamp. He's in the Do What You Like video as the guy behind the desk. There's this nerdy guy with glasses behind the desk. That's Brett. He used to go as high-low. Anyway, so me and Pac became cool. At that time, we were both into, Public Enemy and a lot of the really militant hip hop shit. And his uncle or his godfather really was Geronimo Pratt. Geronimo Pratt was an ex-Panther who was framed for a murder he didn't commit. He did 25 years. Wow. And so he was trying to get his uncle free. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I was working with a woman from the Black Panther Party named Kilu Nyasha, rest in peace. She was one of the first Black women in the Panther Party, and she was kind of like my mentor for 2 years. So for 2 years, she would have events at her house on the edge of Chinatown on Pacific, and she would just talk about political science and black history and da-da-da. And she knew all these people because she too was a journalist. So she had audio tapes with Huey Newton or audio tapes with Geronimo Pratt and, you know, different interviews that she had done before people went to jail or whatever. And so, you know, I think Tupac went to a few of those. He didn't go to a lot of those because he lived far away, but because he lived in the jungle in Marin City, which was a really rough ass area. And so, and it was far. That was the main thing, is it was far from San Francisco. But you know, we became cool, and so he and I, like, our friendship was. It started on hip hop, but it was really rooted in like rebellious black freedom shit. You know what I'm saying? And we were always cool, man. You know what I'm saying? He was really funny. He was really smart. He's a lot smarter than people know. Like, he read more books than anybody I've ever known in hip hop.
His writing was unbelievable.
But that's why, right? When people always say, like, you look at, like, even 50 Cent, right? Like, I think it was I don't remember what song it is right now, but like, there's a song that 50 did, one of those early ones. I think it was In the Club or whatever, but he was like, I just want them to love me like they love Pac, right? Like, everybody wants that iconic status that Tupac had, but it comes from reading. He read more books than anybody I know. Like, he was funny, dude. He was funny as hell. We used to laugh about all kind of shit, but like, in the middle of laughing about whatever, he would be like, hey, have you ever read Revolutionary Suicide by Huey Newton? And I was known as the knowledge guy in hip hop back then. Like, I was the guy that'd be like, oh, Adisa knows hella shit or whatever. The Bishop's hella smart. Tupac knew way more than me. Not just because his mom was a Feenie, not just because his godmother was Asada Shakur. You know what I mean? Like, he really read. He really read, and that reading is what made his ability to write, tell stories, act. They don't realize that all of that comes from his reading. Look, RZA and GZA, to me, are two of the smartest dudes in hip-hop ever.
Wutang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up Wu-Tang, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to RZA, shout out to GZA, you know what I'm saying? But Tupac was smarter than both of them. And he would still be, because he had that kind of a you know, had he not died, he'd still be smarter than them. They are ungodly intelligent, both of those dudes.
Do for Love was my divorce song.
I love that song, dude. I
love
play
that
it
song.
all the time.
It's a great tune.
I play it all the
Love that
time,
tune.
Just
bro.
won't do.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's right. You know what I mean? And so, like,
it
dude,
hit me
like,
heavy, that.
Yeah.
dude, he was funny. He was, because obviously because of, you know, everything that happened to him, the way that he died, like, there's this whole thug life side to him or whatever. But I think that is, it's not fake, you know. There's a lot of people who say, oh, he wasn't a thug and that's why he got killed. Anybody can get shot. I can get shot when I get off the fucking plane, bro. When I get back to Cali, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can get shot. But the thing about Tupac is that he was very naturally a loving human being. And so the thing is that because he loved so heartily, if you betrayed him, he just resented you. And he was mad at himself for even having love for you.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when you see what happened with him and Big, he really looked out for Big before Big had established himself. And then he felt really betrayed, right? And Puffy was doing dumb shit, and it made it worse. You see what I'm saying? But he was a really loving guy, man. And
Do you know
one
what?
of a kind.
Do you know what I see the sort of resemblance between hip hop and, let's say, martial arts.
100%.
And this is probably how you're connected,
Yeah.
but it's like, I'm just going to use an American word,
Yeah.
hella violent,
Yeah, for sure.
but then soft on the
yeah,
other
there's
side.
wisdom behind
Wisdom.
it. Yeah,
Like
there's
like
discipline.
how you're, talking about Pac there.
Mm-hmm.
He was such a red, full of wisdom, but also had that thug life side to him. Like,
For sure.
is that how you connect the dots really between the hip hop and the martial arts?
I mean, I think that is true, right? But I also think, and I could be wrong when I say this, I just think it's part of, like, being a man, that a man can and should have various outlets of expression and self-reflection, right? So being able to fight in any way, or even compete, right? All sports are a variation of war. right? Whether it's rugby,
Yeah.
American football, you know what I'm saying, like whatever, boxing, right? It's all like a thing where we're turning it down from like all out war, right? And so I think that art, whether it's calligraphy, graffiti, poetry, drumming, guitar, piano, like we need as men, I think, to be fully whole, to have these aspects of how we are. But yeah, absolutely martial arts, man. Tupac loved martial arts.
Did he as well? Yeah.
Yeah, he loved martial arts, because the Panthers had to defend themselves. You know what I mean? So they, and it wasn't just gunplay. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the Black Panthers and those that were from that time, they studied lots of different things, whether it was karate or judo or kung fu or, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So yeah, it's all a big part of it.
Can you imagine that impacted you quite deeply when he lost his life then?
Yeah, that shit was crazy, bro.
What really happened there?
I mean, I'll tell you what I experienced on that day. So when he went to jail, I hadn't really been in contact with him that much when he went to jail. And so I didn't believe that he did that shit, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? He was all the way in New York. I was out here. We weren't really talking that much because especially once he got out, like he was just around a lot of death row dudes and shit, and he wasn't in the Bay that much.
And that was for the rape charge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, did he do that shit? You know what I mean? But we weren't in contact, bro. So anyway, when he was locked up, I was going to write him, but I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. Because I didn't know. And I didn't want to feel like I was supporting somebody who was on some weird shit. You know what I mean? So when he got out, there was this thing in San Francisco in the Mission District. It was an outdoor barbecue that a label threw. I don't even remember what it was. But I saw him, and we kind of like, we were cool, but he was around a bunch of different people that I didn't know. And then one of my homies came up to me. He was like, man, he's like, Pac's around a lot of yes men right now. And I was like, yeah, man, who the fuck are those guys? He was like, I don't know. But we figured they were LA dudes. And then what ended up happening was I don't know the time, but I was in LA with some of my friends, and we was trying to get in this club. And Dre was in there, and Snoop was in there. The block was packed. It was crazy. LA at that time was crazy as fuck, bro. I don't know. I think this is like 94. I don't know the year. But he's out. That's what I do know. He had done his time. He's out. And so every time I saw Tupac, I was in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? We never saw each other outside of the Bay. So now I'm in LA. I've never told this story before. So now I'm in LA, and Tupac is with these dudes in a lowrider, if I remember correctly. And he hops out, and he goes to the front of the line, and the security's not letting him in. And he's pissed off, and he turns around getting ready to leave. And I had just gotten a letter from his godfather, Geronimo Pratt. So Geronimo used to give me messages to send to Tupac. Tupac would give me messages to send to Geronimo, because Geronimo was doing the life sentence at the time. He actually got exonerated, and he got out of jail, but it was after like a quarter of a century. Okay. And he has his own autobiography. You should check it out. But he had told me to tell Tupac something. I don't remember at that time. And Tupac was at the front, and he turns around, and I'm like, what's up, bro? And he had been drinking. So he was a little tipsy. And so like, when he looked at me, he was like, because he never saw me outside of the Bay. And he was like, oh shit, Bishop, what's up, bro? I was like, what's up, man? And he was like, nothing. And he was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, hey, Geronimo told me you need to hit him up. You need to reach out. And I gave him some kind of message. And I remember just saying his godfather's name, like he stood up straighter, like, you know what I mean? Even though he was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, cool. And he was like, and these dudes, it was like some old classic LA shit, you know, the low rider, like, it's like, come on, Pac, we gotta go. And he was like, all right, hey, we out here, blah. I was like, all right, later. And that was the last time I saw him alive. That was the last time I saw him alive. So later, I'm back in the Bay, and my boy calls me from Vegas, my boy Dre. His nickname is Goldie. So Dre calls me and he's like, hey, man. I'm like, what's up? He's like, Tupac just got killed. And nothing's on the news right now. I'm like, what? He's like, yo, Tupac just got killed. They shot him. The cops have Suge and all these dudes.
Sorry to interrupt this amazing conversation. We've just got a quick message for you. At the heart of this podcast, Dan, is human connection.
It sure is.
And now it's amazing for us to say that we also build fully bespoke saunas from design, build and install that also promote the exact same thing, mate, human connection. There's a theme here.
There is. And all built to last, like we just keep saying. We wanted to provide products that last a lifetime, not just for a matter of months. Yeah. That's exactly our ethos and our message. So we wanted the products to match that, and they are the highest quality, the highest form of timber, the best quality heaters, and tempered glass to suit.
Wow. We've not spared expense there, mate. If you're thinking of upgrading your space, whether it's your home, business, studio, wherever you can fit a sauna, basically, we can build it for you. So visit us website on immersesaunas.co.uk and we'll take it from there. We look forward to building your dream sauna shortly.
Oh yeah.
Hemmed up over by this 7-Eleven right now. He goes, but it looks like they don't have any guns on them. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro. How the fuck does Death Row not have any guns on them? He's like, I don't know, but it looks like they don't have any guns on them. Da, 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 da. And I was like, fuck. So then I get off and I'm like, you know, I never met his mom, but I was like, I did know his manager. And I was like, I'm not going to call her. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news on no shit like this. So I was like, fuck. So I was just really sad and fucked up. And then, you know, later on the news, oh, Tupac's been shot and da-da-da-da. But my boy said he was dead, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn. So, you know, I go to bed, and then I get up, and he's still alive. You know what I'm saying?
Still alive.
And so he lived for a couple days, and then he died. But the downside of that for me was that my friend died twice. Right, because I had already kind of accepted he died. Then you get this hope, and then he actually fucking dies. Right,
wow, double.
So he died twice for me. You know what I mean? So because people are like, oh, what do you think of the Diddy documentary? And I'm like, I don't watch that shit because I get PTSD because that shit's not entertainment for me. I worked in that field like as an artist and as a journalist, and I don't want to see that shit. I'll probably watch it at some point. Yeah. I'm not going to watch it right now, you know. And I may just watch the episode that deals with him. I don't think that I'd even watch, like, the whole thing, you know.
It's dark, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, and everybody I know that's seen it said it's really crazy, you know what I mean? But so, you know, I don't think I've ever really told that story about how Tupac died twice to me, but I had to grieve him twice. You know, and then you have all the mystery around who did it, who might have done it. Then you have all the, you know, even right now with that guy Keefe D, who's supposed to be busted for having a hand in it, and then this next era of shit with Puffy, and it's like I don't know what to make of it. I'm not even really in that world anymore by choice. Like, you know, at that time I was like 25. I'm 55 now. You know, and so a lot of times people are like, oh, you know, like they try to, and look, I can never divorce myself from hip hop because it was a huge part of my actual life. You know, if I started doing this shit at like 13, right? Like, and I've written books on it, and I've lectured at Harvard on it, and I've, you know what I mean? They have a thing called the Cornell Hip Hop Archive. My book is preserved in that archive. Some of my work is preserved in the Harvard Hip Hop Archive, and, you know, other stuff like that. But I'm just in a different phase right now, bro. And that doesn't mean I listen to hip hop every day, but I don't follow it the way I used to. You know, somebody asked me recently, oh, what do you think about? I'm like, bro, I don't even listen to that shit right now. Like, I listen to my hip hop, the shit that I like. Every once in a while, some new stuff will come across my desk, but I'm not seeking it.
Was that the beginning of the end for you in terms of your you had to separate yourself and pick a different path?
You know what? No. I kept writing about that for a really long time. I used to run this organization called the Hip Hop Chess Federation, and we used to throw these chess events, and that's how I started working with the Wu-Tang more closely. I knew GZA before Wu-Tang Clan just because of hip hop writing and stuff like that. But once I started the Hip Hop Chess Federation, Sway from MTV connected me to to RZA, and then they would come out to our events and do these things where it was connecting hip hop, chess, and martial arts, because I had started jiu-jitsu at that point. I started jiu-jitsu in 1998. You know what I mean? And so little by little, it wasn't a fuck rap, man, I'm out. It was little by little. I'm studying jiu-jitsu. I'm interviewing Ralph Gracie. He was my teacher. I teach there now, Ralph Gracie San Jose. Shout out to the squad, Santa Clara, San Ho. And I was lucky enough to interview Elio Gracie, before he passed away. When he was 80, right after his 86th birthday, I interviewed him for Rap Pages magazine. I interviewed him, Hoist, Horion. You know what I mean? Hiron was a green belt. He was a kid, bro. You know what I mean? He was my translator for half of the interview with Elio, because Elio didn't really speak much English, you know what I'm saying? And so, that led me to go more deeply into philosophy, right? Doing martial arts. So I'm reading Miyamoto Musashi. I'm reading Sun Tzu. I'm reading a lot of Taoism, a lot of Confucianism, right? All this other stuff. And that was just a huge part of my life. But I just got old. I mean, the thing is I think when we talk about hip hop, what we're really talking about is youth culture. Youth culture. I'm 55, bro. That is about as far away from youth culture as you can get. And so it's not that I don't know it. It's not that I don't care. But I'm kind of a hippie right now, bro. I like jiu-jitsu. I teach jiu-jitsu. I like meditation. I teach meditation, right? I like philosophy. I teach philosophy. And so I haven't abandoned those hip-hop aspects of myself, but it's not who I am, and it doesn't enrich me. There was a time when hip-hop enriched me to the highest degree. It doesn't anymore. Not because anything's wrong with it, but it's got a limit, meaning Public Enemy, KRS-One, Poor Righteous Teachers, early Nas,
Jeru the Damager.
Yeah, Jeru, Gangstar. You know what I'm saying? My group, when I was young, we opened for Gangstar in their prime, bro.
Did you?
Yeah. Wow. Opened for Onyx, Brand Nubian, Organized Confusion, Yo-Yo. We were really close to being a thing, but then the dude that I rap with stabbed a guy, and he had to go to court, and by the time he was done with all his court shit, I was tired. I was getting ready to get married. You know what I'm saying? And it was just I don't know what's going on, dude. So, Freedom Troop 187, shout out to Rob Ski, RIP MC Hilo and shit. But I just didn't have it in me. And so little by little, I just kind of faded back from a lot of that.
It's just, I suppose it's the evolution of
a man's life.
Of a man's life.
Right? I can't, you know what I mean? Could I do hip hop shit forever? Probably. But but would I be my authentic self if I did? Right? Public Enemy, KRS-One, PRT, all those guys, the Gangstar, they led me to read these books. I read those books. Those books open whole new doors to other parts of my life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I know Chuck D from Public Enemy. If it's not for Public Enemy, I'm Muslim. I wouldn't be Muslim if it wasn't for Public Enemy, because they put out a song called Bring the Noise, which sampled Malcolm X. I knew that sample from somewhere, and I asked my dad, where's that from? He said, that's Malcolm X. Oh, I have some Malcolm X records that I used to play from when you were little. Listen to those. So I listened to those trying to get a better sample. And I was like, oh, shit, this is kind of interesting. That led me to read his autobiography. Reading his autobiography leads me to studying Islam. Studying Islam leads me to converting. That conversion leads me into martial arts. My love for martial arts leads me to jiu-jitsu, and now I'm fucking here, right? But people think that hip-hop is supposed to be everything for them. Bro, they told you the books to read. They told you to eat healthier. They told you to not kill each other. If you didn't do it, you didn't get the message. I got the message, but then that means that I can't stay here, though. Right?
Yes.
And one of my friends, he was like, man, it seems like you don't really fuck with hip-hop anymore. And I mean, this was 97. I was like, I fuck with hip-hop. I said, but think about it like this. I was like, remember when you were in America, they had these jeans with these crazy patches under the front of the knees. They were called tough skins. And like you couldn't, I think they just put sandpaper on the inside of jeans. Like, but you couldn't cut a tough skin, you know. Boys had tough skins because they were crawling and climbing and falling and shit. And I was like, I had my favorite pair of tough skins, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, but like, you can't wear tough skins in the 7th grade because you've grown, right? I was like, it's not that I don't love hip hop, but I'm growing. You know what I'm saying? Do I still listen to PE? Do I still rock with Chuck D? Fuck yeah. I just got a message from Chuck D last week because I was like, I'm trying to interview real quick, just talk about some shit. But like, you know, he's an actual friend. He's not like an artist, right? RZA and Jizza, these are my friends. They're not artists. They are artists, but they're more than artists to me. You know what I'm saying? So in my evolution as a man, right, Wu-Tang Clan's talking all this extra martial arts shit, I dive deep as fuck into that wormhole to the point where I get a black belt. Like, if I'm listening to rap shit all day, I can't get a black belt because I'm not doing the work that gets you to be at a level of mastery that I seek, that you said is a good idea, right? So it's like, it's not that hip-hop isn't good or that it sucks now or anything else, but I am 55, and I like martial arts, philosophy, and meditation. That's where I'm at.
One thing that I picked up on what you said is that you are not well educated.
Yeah. I'm a high school dropout.
Okay. But you've written and teach philosophy in universities.
Yeah.
So I think there's always a message behind what we try to do with the show.
Yeah, of course.
And I think if there's not a message there to say you can do whatever you want to do if you apply.
Well, yeah, I think that if you're a part of hip-hop as a fan or as an actual artist, like if you do MCing, DJing, b-boying, graffiti, whatever, right? Like, really, you should be using any 4 of those things that you love or study to get some level of self-mastery. You know what I'm saying? In it, right? And then you use that level of mastery to get mastery of something else. If jiu-jitsu has taught me anything, it's that you're a lot more capable than you think you are, right? And then if you take that from a space of self-defense and then you apply it to business and then you apply it to love of self, love good relationships, love of your community or whatever else, right? You can do a lot more than you think. You can do a lot more than you think, but it won't happen if you don't actually try. And in jiu-jitsu, dudes are trying to strangle you and break your arm. So you have to really try. Because they mean it.
I know that as a white belt.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And so the presence that you get from sparring, the dedication and discipline you have to keep coming back after you're getting dragged around and feeling like you don't know what the hell's going on, like that gives you the ability to do other stuff. And, you know, it's not that I didn't like philosophy before. It's not that I didn't like martial arts before. I have a small film that I did with my boy Del Rocks and my boy Seti X. It's on Bruce Lee. It's called The Rhythm of the Dragon. And it's at the Chinese Historical Society right now in San Francisco in Chinatown. So you should go there. And it's a short film about Bruce Lee's impact on hip-hop, but also how he was a dancer. He taught dance before he taught martial arts in America. He was a champion cha-cha dancer in America and in China, right? And so if you watch him, you can see his rhythm. And if you read the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, he talks about rhythm, and so does Miyamoto Musashi talk about rhythm, you know, creating rhythm, collapsing rhythms, hiding rhythms, creating off rhythms, right? And we all have rhythms in what we do as fighters, and we have rhythms in our own life. You see what I'm saying? So this movie is about Bruce Lee. I loved Bruce Lee. I still love Bruce Lee. You know, I was just with Jeff Chang on my podcast, Bishop Chronicles on Substack. You can see me talk with Jeff Chang, who just put this new book out called Water, Mirror, Echo. And it's the best book on Bruce Lee ever done. And I've read a lot of them. But he was a cha-cha dancer. And that's what my film is about. That's, you know what I mean? Cool. But my point is, bro, like, did I ever think I was going to be a fucking rando small filmmaker who also can, lecture at Stanford University on Stoic philosophy and Machiavelli and stuff like that. No, but like I tried and I studied and you know what I mean? What I did got me there. You know what I mean? At some point, you got me to Harvard at some point. You know what I mean? And it's all an honor. My journey is very disjointed. It's really weird. Some people are just one thing forever. You know what I mean? But there was a book I read called The Teachings of Tahotep.
You were just talking about the Timmy.
Teachings of Tahotep?
Yeah, Teachings of Tahotep, yeah.
Okay, so when I was young, I really liked hip-hop, and I really liked the idea of doing music. And I wasn't sure, like, what do I do? I don't know. I was like 20, and I came across this book called The Teachings of Tahotep. And Tahotep has one of the oldest complete books in the world. It's one of the oldest complete books in the world. It comes out of Egypt, also known as Kemet, and basically he was online to be a pharaoh, but he was a spiritual man. And so he was like, you know what? I don't want to be a pharaoh, man. Just let my brother be pharaoh, and I'm just going to like stay in the priesthood and do his thing. So he did, which is interesting because, a lot of times when you look at like European history or most histories that deal with like aristocracies, right? And like who gets to be king, the brothers are like killing each other and like trying to set up each other to die. And he just didn't want it. It was like, I'm a spiritual dude, give it to my brother. So his brother was pharaoh, and then he gets ready to die. And so he comes back to Tahotep and he's like, hey, I'm going to give the next round to my son, but I want him to be a good leader. Could you write a book for him on how to be a good leader? And it's a very small book. It's very thin, right? If you go on Amazon, only get the one with the black and yellow cover because the translations for a lot of the others are trash, honestly. Don't bother. Black and yellow. Called? Teachings of Tahotep, but it's spelled like Pthahotep.
Nice.
Right?
Yep.
Teachings of Tahotep. And this book is like really good. But one of the things I learned from reading the Teachings of Tahotep and then looking at the work of Imhotep. So Imhotep built the first step pyramid, not like the pyramids of Giza and stuff, like the first kind of like early pyramids, right? But when you look at Imhotep as a person, right? He was like a grand vizier. He was an architect. He was a doctor. He was all these things. And I remember being like, wait a minute, you could be all that, right? Because if you come from a Western world, right? If you're an iron worker, dog, you do iron. Don't try to be no damn knight. You just do the iron. The knight is the knight.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? The scholar is the scholar. And so when I'm looking at Tahotep, I'm like, you could be a doctor and a politician and right? Like that was weird to me. So I think the thing that I got from that was like, you don't have to be anything but what you are for real. As long as you're really being that, right? As long as you're actually doing the practice and taking the actions of those things, right? So, fuck it, I'm a hip-hop journalist. I was a hip-hop journalist when people didn't know what it was. I remember when Ice-T was arguing about, like when that Cop Killer song
I don't
had
think
come
you
out.
knew either, did you?
No,
you just
but
went
like,
boom.
I remember being on. I remember
feeling.
there was a radio station called KGO. It don't exist no more because radio is largely dead. But KGO was a big news thing, and there was a discussion around hip hop, and I called in to give an opinion, and they're like, "Yeah, now we have Adisa." And what do you? I said, "Yeah, I'm a hip hop journalist," and they were like, "What's a hip hop?" They thought that shit was a joke. And in my brain, I'm like, bitch, we're taking over, man. You're about to be fucking irrelevant. But anyway, right? But like, that's how, that's how early on I did it, right? Like I was doing it before it was a thing, right? I was covering jiu-jitsu in America before it was a thing, right? But that's what I really was. And so it's easy for people to look at me now and be like, oh man, this guy's a fucking hip hop journalist. Man, I was doing this shit when no one cared, bro. So like when I say like, if you're really that, really be that if that's what you are.
That's really powerful to have that sort of realization at such a young age.
Yeah, I was like 20, bro. 21.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Most people are still...
Self-awareness on a different level.
Yeah.
Most people are trying to fit themselves into that box that they're
Yeah.
going to be in for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And I've only just recently kind of lent into that. You know, what was the guy's name? The pyramid guy?
Imhotep and then Tahotep.
Tahotep. So
yeah.
do multiple things, whatever you love. Just
Yeah.
be that.
Yeah.
Don't try and be anyone else. And that's really refreshing to hear that if you can try and lean into that as soon as possible and take off the fake masks and just like be.
And don't worry about opinions of other people.
That's
like,
a big one.
Like I remember for Rap Pages, I don't know what. It was early in writing for Rap Pages. They were based in LA. And I wrote an article, ironically, I don't know, it must have been the month of Father's Day or something, but I wrote about my dad and my relationship with my father and how he influenced me in a lot of positive ways. And then I told a friend, he was like, what have you been up to? And I was like, oh, I just wrote an article on my dad for Rap Pages. And I remember he was like, what the fuck do you know about writing? You don't know shit. And he started laughing like hysterically. And I remember looking at the phone because he was my homie, but I was like, man, fuck you, bro. And I was like, hey, my shit's dope. And what happened is when the interview came out, when the article came out, he was, at the magazine bookstore, saw it and was like, holy shit, bought it. And he called me, he's like, hey man, this article is incredible. And I could tell in that moment, he had completely forgotten his first response to me telling him that I was a journalist. You understand?
That could have knocked you sideways, couldn't it?
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you'd allowed it.
derailed my whole shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I realized what I later came up with as a concept in that moment. And I call this concept the mosaic principle, right? And anybody who's trying to do something and you feel like shit, I want you to pay attention to this. The mosaic principle is like, think of a mosaic painting, okay? In a museum, a beautiful one, right? If I walk you up to the wall, like 2 feet from it, looking straight, what do you see? Just a bunch of dots, bro. You don't know what you're looking at. You are too close, okay? But if I say, I need you to take 25 steps back, oh my God, it's a woman on a pond in a lake and there's a bird and trees and flowers. It's beautiful. Why can't you see it? Because you're too close. Your vantage point is too close, okay? So how does this relate to your life? Your parents, your cousin, your sister, your neighbor, your classmates. You say, I want to be a painter. And they're like, someone please tell Dad, did he tell you about that painting shit, bro? Does he think he's fucking Picasso? He should not be painting. I know. Nobody wants to. I'll tell him, don't paint, bro. Don't be a painter. And you're like, oh, shit. People who love me are telling me not to paint. People who love me are telling me, bro, you see how I look? Bro, when I graduated high school, I was 100 pounds, bro. 100 American pounds at 18 as a technical adult. When I said I wanted to do jujitsu, people were like, oh, this motherfucker right here is tripping, bro. He's going to get murdered. Somebody stop him, right? They couldn't see the G in me, right? They were too close. So when people bring you that shit, you don't listen. They can't see you. They're too close to you and they love you. Right? And there's another part of this mosaic thing inside of it is that most humans, even though they don't want to admit it, think that they're better than the other human next to them on the bus or in their because they're inside themselves. Right? So if they don't think they can be a painter, there's no fucking way you can be a painter, bro. Don't do it. Because I'm better than you and I can't fucking paint, so you can't paint. Chill. Oh, jujitsu. Don't bother. It's dangerous. Lots of people. You see this guy? He got his head knocked off. Don't do it. Right? But they don't know that you're a savage. They don't know that you feel whole and present in it. They don't know when the brush is in your hand, you feel connected to God. They don't know that. And so you have to listen to them and let go of that. because they can't see you. They're too close. Then they come into your garage and they go, oh my God, you have a gift. But at that time, bro, they were too close. You can't listen to nobody, man. If I listen to them say, well, you gotta remember, I'm a high school dropout. I'll tell y'all something right now. My grammar is still shit. I've never studied it. I've never studied grammar. I put like 3 books out. I've written in other people's anthologies. Grammar is trash. And anybody who really knows me knows my grammar is trash. Because I've had to say, my grammar is trash. I'm an idea guy. I'm a conceptual guy.
Look under the surface.
You know what I'm saying? But the technical, man, anybody can be good at grammar. Bitch, you have no ideas. You have no original thought. You're a fucking parrot. You know what I'm saying? And who do you parrot? People like me. People who have original thought. People who step onto the edge and just fucking try. You see what I'm saying? But you have to have that conviction, right? But this is where the actual practice comes in. While they're laughing at the fact that I want to be a martial artist, I'm making myself do 20 push-ups and struggling at it, right? I'm making myself do crunches and shit and sucking at it. I'm going to practice with absolute killers and getting murdered, bro. When I was at Half Gracie in Mountain View, it's a legendary school, bro. Put it in Google. RALPH Gracie Mountain View Academy. All you see are war stories. I was right there getting beat the fuck up every day. I sucked. BJ Penn, first day of jiu-jitsu. I was there. I saw it. Dave Camarillo, the guy that trains Mark Zuckerberg right now, was Cain Velasquez's coach and all the. He was the first day I went to Half's, him and Bobby Southworth taught me. And then Half, because Half wasn't there the day that I first went in. I got beat the fuck up regularly, dog. Not a factor at all. Worst person in the room for a long time. But I loved it. I loved it.
People are not willing to suck at first, are they?
No.
What do you think that is, like a pride thing or?
I just think it's an unrealistic thing. Like for me, I was fascinated with the learning, right? So it's like, okay, BJ Penn just armbarred me for the fucking 500th time. But then I go, how did you do that? And he's like, okay, so remember when you were pushing? Yeah. He was like, I pivoted, right? Then you grab the wrist. And then this hand, I'm not really grabbing your wrist. I grab the wrist here, but then I come across and my arm is here. So when I lay back, your wrist is stuck between my elbow. Oh, that was what fascinated me. So wait, a guy has your head, and how did you escape? And Dave's like, he has my head, but then I put one arm here and one arm there, and then when I step back, they fall, and now I'm on top. I'm like, oh shit. I was so addicted to the magic of the move that what I suffered to learn it was a fair price. It was a fair price.
Yes.
Because I love this shit. You know what I'm saying? If I got to sit outside of a rapper's dressing room for 2 hours because he's bullshitting or asleep or whatever, I'll do it. Because I have a question. I have a question that matters, that nobody's even thought about, that he may not have thought about.
That's the key moment.
And that's what makes him go, oh shit, what's your number? And then we become homies. You see what I'm saying? But it's not because I'm special in some actual way. It's because Malcolm X one time, he was being questioned in an interview and they said, you know, but like, who are you, man? Like you went to jail, you know what I mean? You used to sell cocaine and run around and now you're supposed to be in the Nation of Islam. Like, you know, he said, my sincerity are my credentials. That shit fucked me up. Let your sincerity be your credentials. Show up, do the work, don't worry about anybody's opinions, the mosaic thing. And when you, now that you know about the mosaic principle, beware of it in yourself. I haven't told a single solitary person in my life what they couldn't do. Because people told me what I couldn't do my whole life, and they were fucking wrong. They were very fucking wrong. So I don't tell people what they can't do. Because I didn't know what I was capable of. The audacity to tell somebody that their aspiration is unrealistic.
How dare you?
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, dog. He wants to go be a football player.
Does that make you go a bit harder?
It didn't really make me go harder, but it made me stay true to myself. Right?
I think that's cool because a lot of people have this fuck you, I'll show you, and that's their drive.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think that's a real goal.
Well,
because
it can start you off, but it can't keep you.
No,
right? It might get you in the air, like, okay, we're airborne, but your shit's gonna crash, dog.
Now I've proved you wrong. Where do I go from?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Or if you, and like even if you do it to prove them wrong, now what? So then what feeds you now? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it bothered some people in my family that I would put a book out as someone who didn't have a degree. I didn't need a degree. This person is my editor. They have a degree.
Thank you.
Right? I don't need, I did radio off and on for a couple of years. I didn't need to know how this fucking board works. He knows how the board works. Is this mic on? And the show. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
We started a sauna business. We don't know how to build saunas.
Right?
People around us were like, how are you going to do that?
Sorry to interrupt you there, guys. We've got a massive announcement, Dan. We've managed to partner with Pure Sport, which is one of the most exciting brands at the minute in the UK, my friend.
That's it, built to last, in it for the long run, as the hashtag says. All the similar sorts of messages behind the ethos of the brand, and it really fits in alignment with us. We know that they're athlete tested.
Even Lucy Bronze is using their products. She's a friend of the show.
The magnesium and the ashwagandha and all those other products that are related to recovery are super useful for me right now. I'm really feeling the benefit. The electrolytes is definitely the best I've tasted.
They're the best I've tasted as well, without sounding biased, my friend. But yeah, it just lines up with everything that we preach, mate. No shortcuts, just solid daily habits that actually make you feel better.
If you want to try these guys, use the Immerse 10 for 10% off at the checkout.
Now back to the episode. Sorry for interrupting you there. Crack on.
Let's go.
Right.
We'll find a fucking way. We'll find the people that know.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll study it until we are those people.
We'll study it. We love it.
You know what I'm saying?
There's something that you feel.
And it's a product
Tangible.
of your sincerity. It's what you want, what you believe in. Sometimes, like, you can't, like, like my dad, he never hated on hip hop. But he never knew it was going to be as big as I knew it was going to be. I remember some shit happened. I don't know. Maybe it was at the Grammys or da-da-da. And my dad was like, did you ever see hip-hop going to this place? I was like, yeah. And it's not done. You know what I mean? My dad's thinking it's just a teenage hobby. It's, you know what I mean? Whatever. He's not hating on it because he likes art and he likes music. I come from a very musically, inclined family and things like that. But a $1 billion global entity, industry, da-da-da-da. Nah, he didn't see that. I did. At 13, I was like, oh, this is extra. This is bigger than we think. I'm doing this forever, There were certain things, when I heard hip-hop, fucking forever. I'm doing this shit.
It was such a fresh sound, wasn't it? I remember one of the first tracks that I heard, and I was just like, whoa, what is this?
What was it?
My steez. Is it Gangsta?
Yeah, it is. It is Gangstar. What?
I was like,
you know what I'm saying?
I was only a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, this is different.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And we all get bit by different bugs at different times, and we're not even sure why. You know what I mean? But I knew I'm doing that forever. You know what I mean? When I went into the Half Gracie Academy, like I said, I did my first class, and I wasn't really fit, man. Like, I was 165 pounds. I didn't really work out. I had seen a lot of stuff. I loved martial arts in theory, but I wasn't, an accomplished anything really. And when I went home, I was so sore. Not because really they were rough with me. I always, in the beginning, would say, like, I got my ass kicked. But really, I was just unfit. I went to sleep, and I was in so much pain, I would wake up in my sleep from moving. I'd be like, oh, shit. Oh. And I remember I looked up at the ceiling, and I was like, bro, you're fucking hurt right now. Are you sure this is what you want? And I was looking up at the ceiling, and I was like, go back tomorrow then if it hurts this bad again, you can stop. But if it doesn't, you keep going back. And then I went to sleep, got up, went back. Then they fucked me up again, right? And your body hasn't just changed, you know what I mean? Your mind hasn't changed, and you have to commit to what you said you were going to do.
It's the mental calluses that it forms, though, isn't it? And I guess that can transfer over into
exactly.
anything.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing is like people need to know that they're much more capable than they think, but they have to actually try. They have to actually study. And this moment in humanity has never been a better time to study and try to be whatever you want to be. Go into any AI tool, ChatGPT, Claude. Go into Google, go on to edX, go into Udemy, go on to any of these new platforms, and you can find whatever you want to study. And if you can't, go on to Amazon and look up the books of the thing that you think you want to learn about. And if you read those books, you're already on the path. You know what I mean? And sometimes the thing you pursue may not, like the guy who's trying to go pro in football, he may not be a pro. But through the process of doing everything he can to be a pro, he learns that he actually likes marketing. He learns that he actually likes venture capitalism because he met a guy, right? Like, but if you don't fully try and exhaust yourself in the love and the pursuit and the discipline of that experience, you'll never, right? You're then now, hey, well, who's the bitter guy on the third floor? He used to try to go pro, but he didn't make it, and now he's just upset. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, if you just would have tried, you would have lived a happier life, right?
Our good friend Johnny connected us.
Big Johnny. Yes, sir.
Cheers, Big G. And he wanted me to ask you a question on his behalf, and he wanted you to describe or explain memento mori. Memento
mori. So memento mori is a Stoic practice. Let me tell you guys right now, if you're interested in Stoicism, it is imperative that you learn to do the Stoic practice, and that is different from learning Stoic quotes. This is crucial, okay? One of the reasons Stoicism is so dope is because Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Zeno, Cleanthes, right, Epictetus have all these crazy dope quotes, right? And you'll be like, Epictetus said, and you'll be like, yeah. And then you'll go out and you'll work out that day, or, you know, you'll go study or whatever the thing is, right? But too many people, too many channels on YouTube and everything else, they use these quotes, but they don't teach the practice. Everything they said comes from how they lived, practices. So Stoicism has, if you go, I'm telling you, go back into Google, ChatGPT, Claude.ai, right, Gemini, whatever, and whatever your issue is, ask it, what is the Stoic practice for overcoming, like give me 3 Stoic practices for overcoming fear. Give me 5 Stoic practices for overcoming anger, sadness, right? Even joy. Everything good can be overdone, right? Memento mori is the Stoic practice of remembering death, okay? And it's important because life is not promised, and we lie to ourselves, not just in the West, but in the whole world about the promise of tomorrow, because we get the habit of seeing the sun lies to us about the fragility of life, right? You just wake up, it's back there. There's the moon. All right, y'all, right? Everybody don't get that. There's people who were living yesterday, didn't even know they were dying, bro, and they're gone right now. You feel me? Like they got hit by a car or had a stroke or whatever. Look what happened to Anthony Joshua and his homies, right?
Yeah.
Damn, imagine that.
They were playing table tennis a couple of hours before that.
Yeah.
And he put it on his
story.
Yeah.
When was this?
Yesterday.
I've not even
Crazy
seen it.
crash with
really
Anthony
bad
Joshua.
crash.
2 of his best friends died. He's one of his coach and one of his main
He
trainers
got
died
dragged
in
out of the
Nigeria.
back. Whoa. Bad crash.
It was horrible. And Anthony Joshua ended up being okay, but look what he's got to live with now.
Yeah.
Right now, think about it. You just beat the brakes off Jake Paul. The whole planet thinks you're cool. You made money already. You chilling, right? Let's go to Nigeria and thug out. We chilling. Bam. Right? None of us know when our last day is here. So what Memento Mori does is it helps you learn two main things: gratitude and discipline, right? Discipline because, oh, you said you want to have a dope podcast. Well, then you better show up tomorrow and, you know, what's the new mic and this is the marketing theme or whatever, right? Discipline and gratitude, right? For the ability to do it, for the friends who help you and support you, for the breath of this moment, right? Because yesterday's breath, you don't even remember it. You're just here right now, right? So you have to, right? When you have discipline and gratitude, and you recognize that you don't have forever, things get executed a lot faster. You know, I was studying Stoicism in the midst of a divorce, and I'll never forget this day. I was given a talk at the public defender's office, and I told this story, but I'm going to tell it again. So, regular day, I was a school teacher, okay, in Berkeley. I'm leaving. And I get on the train, and I'm tired. You know, it's fucking Friday, bro. Let's just go home. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on the train, and I can hear this dude snoring. He was already snoring but his snore is like worse. And I'm like, fuck, this guy's loud, bro. And all of a sudden, I hear this commotion. It sounds like there's fighting. And the dude that was snoring was really big. He was like 300-pound dude. You know what I'm saying? And I see this dude, and he's kind of like got him by the scruff of the neck, and I think they're fighting. I'm like, oh, shit, it's going down. But really, that guy who was snoring was having a heart attack. Lucky for him, the guy who was grabbing him by the shirt and the woman behind him was a doctor and a medical student. They're struggling because he's 300 pounds and they can't get him out of the chair. So the dude, I thought he was trying to give him, like heart CPR, but the dude was sitting upright and he's kind of fucked up. So then they're like, will someone help us? So I'm like, yeah. So I help. We get the guy out of the chair. We lay him down on the floor, and we're taking turns giving him CPR. And so it's the woman, it's me, it's the dude. It's the woman, it's me, and the dude. And I'm straddling this dude, and my knees don't even hit the floor. He's that big, bro. And I'm like, boom, boom. And I'm like, hey, man, you know, I need you to keep breathing. I need you to stay with us, bro. And, bro, he died on the floor. And so they were like, everybody off the train. We had to get off at Oakland 12th Street. And then the EMTs and everything come, and they do all the stuff. They get his body on the gurney. They take him off. And then they're like, okay, the train's back on. Everybody get on. And we get back into the car, and everybody's like, holy shit. Like, everybody's fucked up, but no one's talking because we're all experiencing this as a group, but we don't know each other. You know what I'm saying? So I get back on my chair. Everybody goes back to the seat they were in. And so these two seats remain open. We get to the next spot. Boom. The door's open, and this woman, she steers on. She's got her little baby. She sits down in the seat. She sits down with her little kid in the chair, and everybody's like, oh my God, there's a baby and a mom in the chair where the guy just died. This is crazy. No one spoke to her, right? And I said, this is memento mori. This is real life. The train keeps moving. People get on. That seat's not yours. That's her seat now. That's a newborn baby. A man just died. That's life, and it keeps moving. Bro, I will never forget that. So the practice of memento mori is to remember you will die. One of the ways that the Stoics practice memento mori is they have what they call a Stoic calendar. I encourage everybody, both of you, to get a Stoic calendar. Everybody at home, go get a Stoic calendar. And a Stoic calendar is a poster with just dots, okay? And it's like 5, 10, 20, it goes down, okay? So you fill it all the way up out to the age that you're at, and then every week you fill in a new dot. And it just says memento mori at the top of the calendar. So every Friday, I fill in a new dot. Every Friday, fill in a new dot, right? And I remember what did I say I was going to do this week? I look at all the dots behind me. I look at all the dots that will never get filled because we don't have forever. That's an aspect of Stoic practice of memento mori, remembering that you will die. You do not have forever, right? And, I'm 55. I definitely don't have forever. I've outlived a lot of people. A lot of people I thought I would have friendships with forever, like Tupac, right? Like my boy Hilo, who he had some weird thing happen with his heart, where he fucking died twice on me too, because he had some kind of crack in his heart. He didn't really have any family that was coming to see him, so they put me down as family. I went to go see him. They were like, yeah, your boy's probably going to die today. I went out. I was like, all right, bro, you know what I'm saying? One love, you know how we do it. Bounced. And then he called me like 5 days later. I was like, what the fuck? He was like, hey, man, what's up? Yeah, I lived. I was like, no shit, what's up? He's like, yeah, man, come see me. So I went up. He's walking around with the, you know what I'm saying? And then he got out. He was cool. I was like, all right, my boy is back, whatever. And then he died. Like, I don't know, a year later, just randomly. You know what I'm saying? Just his heart was like, whatevs. So,
Easy,
yeah, Easy was different. Easy was different where, like, there was a thing called the Gavin Convention. It was a music seminar thing that used to be in San Francisco. I hadn't seen him in some time. We weren't really on the best of terms, and then we came across each other, and he was like, as soon as he saw me, like, we just kind of looked at each other. He was like, what's up, man? I was like, what's up, dog? We didn't even have the conversation. We were cool again. And he was like, hey, man, give me a call. And I was like, yeah. And so he gave me his number, and then I went home, and I was like, man, Easy be on some bullshit sometimes. What if all of that was just because you were at the seminar? What if that, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, keep the card, don't call him, but just think about it. You know what I mean? So I kind of chilled. And then, bro, I'm watching MTV, Kurt Loder. Rapper Eazy-E is in a coma. I was like, wait, what? And then I called anyway, but I knew it was too late. You know what I'm saying? And then he died not long after. And like, I was like, damn. I remember I met briefly, who's the guy that did the Fast and Furious? Paul Walker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We used to have the same doctor. I'm coming out of my doctor's office, and he told me, I scheduled your appointment because Paul Walker is next. He does jiu-jitsu. You need to interview him. And I was like, no shit. He's coming in. I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, this guy does jiu-jitsu, talking about me. He's like, Paul does jiu-jitsu. And so he's like, man, you need to interview Paul. And there was something, in a rare way, I can't really explain it. I felt somewhat intimidated. I felt unworthy. I felt like I didn't know what outlet I would put it in. I was confused about what to do. I mean, I knew it would be a cool conversation, but I didn't have a plan. I felt like Paul Walker deserved a plan. And so several times, this guy's like, you need to interview Paul. You need to interview Paul. And I don't. He crashes and dies. And now people ask all the time, well, where did he first start training? And and how did he feel about jiu-jitsu in this respect or that respect? Luckily, the doctor introduced me to one of his main training partners and teachers, a guy named Vince. And so, like, I did interview Vince in Hawaii about his relationship with Paul. But the direct access I had to Paul and the direct opportunity I had to get his specific opinions about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will never happen because I waited. If I had known about Memento Mori then, I would be able to tell you about what I learned directly from Paul Walker.
Judging by your history would have said that you'd have interviewed him.
Yeah.
Why did that not happen?
It really was this. I rarely feel unworthy of a thing.
Sabotage.
But it wasn't sabotage. It was just like, it's fucking Paul Walker, bro. Like, this guy puts out $1 million movies. Like, What are you doing with this interview? Like normally, like my brain would fall into alignment. And I'd be like, I'm gonna take it to Vibe magazine. I'm gonna interview him about whatever. Da, 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 da. Yeah, what month is it? Like I thought like that. But with him, I just felt overwhelmed with who he actually was in the world at the time. And I kept thinking that I'd figure the angle, and then he died before it happened. I mean, that's horrible.
Another lesson, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so, you know, memento mori is a big thing. And if you can understand that you don't have forever, if you can understand, and here's the flip, right? Like, nobody has forever. So, like, normally you think, and this didn't come for a couple years, but like, okay, I might die, you know, whatever. We had that conversation, right? But then the other part of memento mori is not you. It's actually others, right? So you might have a grudge against a friend, a family member, whatever. And some people be like, I'll talk to Fred when I feel like it. Damn, what happened to Fred? You didn't hear? Man, Fred had a stroke out of nowhere, but he's so young. I know. Ain't gonna be no closure with Fred, right? What the problem was is you were trying to punish Fred with your absence, and that's just a byproduct of your ego, and that turned into something that made that closure never happen, right? And so memento mori cuts both ways. Like, you don't have forever, and they don't have forever, even if they think it. You're holding a grudge for no reason. You're gonna regret it. You know, you're being petty for no reason. You're gonna regret it. You're not getting closure. You're not giving closure.
It ends up hurting us more in the long run anyway.
Every time, brother. Every time.
It's like the ultimate tool for instant presence.
Yeah.
Like, I heard someone talking about it. You know, we're all fathers here.
Yeah.
Thinking about others. The worst case scenario.
Yep.
Like, put your fucking phone down, man.
You know what I'm saying? And I struggle with that shit right now, dude. I got
do.
a bad phone addiction.
Me too.
We all do, don't we?
I think we all have.
Yeah.
But memento mori can work in many, many ways.
Yeah.
In terms of be here.
Presence. When Cristiano wrote that, like, I was like, damn, Professor Cristiano's killing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's true, right? Like whatever you do, like, we can apply it to martial arts, but that can be anything. You know, you have to train like it matters, because one day it will.
Amen to that.
Amen to that one.
Yeah, man.
I need to ask you. I'd kick myself if I didn't ask you this.
Go.
Helio Gracie.
Yeah.
Wow. For people that don't know, I mean, I'll let you tell people about Helio, but I'm interested in your conversation with him.
So, yeah, Helio Gracie is one of the reasons anybody you know is doing jiu-jitsu, period. Right? He had 5 brothers, and they became the cornerstone of what we now know as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, period. And when I fell in love with it and the UFC was I started doing jiu-jitsu before the UFC. Before I went to Half Gracie's, my friend Jamie, shout out to Himes, shout out to Jamie LaPena, I was doing Eskrima, I sucked at it, I was trying, I was like, I'm not going to quit this shit though, but I sucked. Like, all my friends were like going up and stick fighting and blade shit. I'm trash, but I'm trying, right? So one day I go to his house and he's like, hey, dude, I saw these Brazilian dudes, like, doing some crazy shit, bro. You want to see it? I'm like, yeah. He puts his videotape in. They're just on the beach, in a rec center, in a cage, right? And I'm like, there's no way this works, though. He's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, I mean, he's just on top of him, bro. Like, no. And he's like, do you think you could stop me from taking you down? And I was like, without question, I could stop you from taking me down. So we moved some stuff aside in his living room, and he's like, I'm going to try to take you down. I said, you won't do it. He takes me down, and he's on top of me. I'm like, all right, get off me, get off me. I was like, I need another try. He's like, okay. We do it again. All right, get off me. And I was like, it might work. And he was like, I bought some videotapes that teach you how to do it. I was like, let's go. So we started doing these videotapes pre-UFC.
Cool, man.
So when the UFC dropped and we saw Royce in the cage, we're like, he's going to win. And he did, right? So I start writing about jiu-jitsu early. I wrote one of the first articles on jiu-jitsu for what I don't even think it exists anymore. A long time ago, Maxim magazine. I wrote for Maxim magazine on Ralph Gracie, and then I pitched to Rap Pages magazine this idea that the UFC was cool and martial arts and hip hop are connected, and they should let me do this article. Just fly me down to LA so I can interview Royce Gracie and his dad. And they're like, okay, cool. So I go down and I interviewed him, and it was really incredible. You know, Elio was 86 at the time. He had just turned 86. He was very fluid as a human. I was already training at House by this time. So we go from the videotape era to tail end of 97. I start training with Half in Mountain View.
What's the relation with Half and Helio then?
So Elio would be so Half's father is Hobson Gracie, who taught him. So Hobson is the father of Half, Henzo Gracie, Hyan Gracie, who passed away, rest in peace, and Charles. Okay, those four brothers. Hobson's father is Carlos Gracie. Carlos was the first person in the family to do jiu-jitsu. He taught Elio. Elio started kind of pioneering some of the initial innovations, and that's how everything kind of breaks out. So I interviewed him, Royce, and Horian Gracie. Horian Gracie of the world-famous Gracie Academy in Torrance, California, and now Gracie University, you know, Hiron and Henner, right?
Yeah,
So
I've been watching them guys.
Yeah. So, you know, I just interviewed Hiron for
I've seen
Bishop
that.
Chronicles, man. It was
Seen
good,
that.
man.
Yeah,
Really
mega.
cool, right?
Yeah.
So Elio Gracie was just incredibly playful, like he showed me the first standing wrist lock escape stuff, and you know, he was really incredible, and meeting him was like, I love Half. I loved Half. I loved Charles, you know. My instructor, Gumby, who gave me my black belt, Heroes Martial Arts, Shark City, you know how we do it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bobby and the squad, East Side. Anyway, like, you know, being in the presence of Elio was, you know, incredibly unique, you know. And as much as I love Half and Gumby and Charles and everybody else in my journey, meeting Elio was what made me want to do jiu-jitsu forever. Because I was like, damn, he is 86. He can strangle people. He
Still
can da-da-da.
rolling.
Now, again, like, he wasn't doing no cage fighting. He was 86. But, bro, he could choke you out for sure. If you grabbed his wrist, he could escape for sure, right? And I was like, how does a guy this old move like that? And he was funny. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't acting like he was too cool. He wasn't acting like you were dumb. I mean, he wasn't even speaking English, bro. He's talking to me through Hiron. You know what I mean? He was playful. He was laughing. He was, you know what I mean? I still have the cassette tape, bro. I still have that cassette tape.
I'd love
You know
to
what I
see
mean?
that.
Yeah, man. It's in fact, I've been thinking about taking it and seeing if I can get it digitized and like get some of the hiss out of it or whatever. But you can hear it. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just like tighten it up. But like you know, Elio Gracie, it's funny, just the other day, Halleck Gracie, who is another one of his grandsons, he's Hiron's brother. A lot of people in jiu-jitsu were talking about how pulling guard is whack and, you know, da-da-da-da. And I was like, man, we need to stop the wrestleification of jiu-jitsu, bro. Right? Grappling arts are all beautiful. All of them. I'm not a hater of traditional martial arts. There's like, there's no point in doing kung fu. There's no point in doing karate. Kyokushin karate is dangerous. You will get knocked out. Now, you know, there's certain aspects of karate, certain styles of karate that are a lot less efficient. Bro, Kyokushin karate, dangerous. Enshin karate, dangerous. Judo, you think getting slammed on the sidewalk, bro? There is no jiu-jitsu. You got slammed on the sidewalk. You're done, right? Boxing still matters. Wrestling still matters. But jiu-jitsu has the closed guard. And it revolutionized how we understood what could happen in a fight. And the wrestleification of jiu-jitsu is like certain aspects of wrestling, especially no-gi, are bleeding into our sport. And I just said, hey, bro, if you don't like guard pulling, go be a wrestler. And I put hashtag Elio pulled guard. And he did. And that's why we respect him. Hoist pulled guard. Hickson pulled guard. These are the giants of the sport. Roger Gracie, I was just down in Hammersmith. Shout out to Roger, right?
Big shout, Roger.
Yeah, shout out to Ben. Shout out to Mauricio. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jordan and everybody else there. Bro, they will pull guard and break you apart. It's a part of the sport. Don't let wrestling infect what we do, bro.
So just for people that don't know, pulling guard is being on the bottom.
On your back, yeah.
It's
like it's choosing to lay on the ground or allow yourself to be taken down, and you wrap your legs around that person's waist.
Yeah.
And you can attack them or you can off-balance them. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, right? And so because no-gi has become so popular and because no-gi is dope, and I'm not hating on no-gi. I do no-gi. I used to teach no-gi, so this isn't even about like style differences and what's cool or not cool. But the thing is that jiu-jitsu is not wrestling. Wrestling is not judo. Even Greco-Roman is not freestyle. Freestyle is not Dagestani, right? There's different kinds of grappling, and that's all fine, right? But if you're going to say you do jiu-jitsu, bro. That's it.
Keep the purity of it.
Yeah, let the art be the art.
Let the art
And
be
if you
the
want to
art.
go be a wrestler, go be a wrestler, right? If you and really, what I know, if you don't like guard pullers, is you probably can't pass. You probably can't pass. You probably can't deal
Feel
with a good
vulnerable
guard.
there. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro.
My early stages of this, mate, I've just read the book Breathe
Yeah, Hickson.
by Hickson Gracie, and that's just like blown my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just relating to the really holistic side to it all. It's like he never really talks about much fighting. He talks about being out in nature. He talks about breathing.
Yeah.
He talks about saying thanks to God.
Yeah. Having
being
gratitude.
with his family. And all this is like the fighting's like a backstage sort of thing.
It is.
And I've really related to like Hickson's story of how he became the man and the champion, and I think that's an important thing for people to hear. Like it's not just tearing people's heads off. It's much deeper than that, and I've really related to it. Have you had any interactions with Hickson? Or
No, man. No? Tragically, actually, my good friend Professor Eddie Cohn down in London, EKBJJ, and shout out to my man Professor Grant Hensby at EKBJJ Yorkshire. Eddie was recently training with Hickson, like last week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so Hickson, of course, if you don't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's kind of like the icon of the whole game. He's the one that really made, like, Hoist introduced you to what was possible, but Hickson takes that to a higher level, you know what I mean? And a lot of his things. And his book, Breathe, is incredible. He's got a second book called Comfort in Darkness, or something like that, which is also good. I read both of them.
Yeah. Invisible Jiu-Jitsu thing.
Yeah. Really beautiful, man. You know, really beautiful. And so, I think that, when you come into Jiu-Jitsu, and he and I were speaking about this on the way in, is like, when you yes, Jiu-Jitsu is cool. It has all these different things, but what is the problem with Jiu-Jitsu? And I wrote about this years ago in a magazine that doesn't exist anymore called Valet Tudo News. Shout out to Eddie Goldman, who is kind of like my hero in this whole thing. Eddie Goldman is one of the best and most old school MMA writers ever. NHB News, because before it was even MMA, it was like Valet Tudo, right? And then NHB, No Holds Barred. Those were the terms that they would use, right?
So Valet Tudo's translates.
It's Portuguese for like anything goes, pretty much,
yeah.
right? And then No Holds Barred was just kind of like the American term for Valet Tudo, right? And so I wrote then, this would have been like 98. I was like, look, if we don't find a philosophy for jiu-jitsu, we're going to have a situation where you can be really violent really quick but not think for yourself. And you'll just be like a violent bull in a china shop who doesn't know how to think. And everybody then, and people even now, are like, Adisa, man, shut up, bro. Like, you know, when a lot of martial arts become westernized, the first thing that gets cut is the philosophy, right? So, oh, we all like Bruce Lee, but nobody wants to talk about the Tao Jeet Kune Do. Nobody really wants to talk about Taoism. Nobody wants to talk about patience and be like water, beyond the phrase, be like water, bro. Like, but what does that mean? You don't even go to the beach. What does that mean? You don't sit at the lake. What does that mean? You won't sit by the river in silence. How can you be like water when you won't even allow yourself to relate to it, right? And so I've gotten to a point where I hate to say I was right, but I will say that I absolutely believe I was right. If you look at, you see what's going on in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today, all kinds of weirdos in this sport, bro. Like, they got a guy right now who Craig Jones is talking about, and it looks like that guy was a molester and a sexual assaulter, bro, of some world champions. That guy's probably in great danger right now. You know what I'm saying? But he's not alone. If we're honest about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, it's awesome. But there are some weirdos. There are some schools where the dudes try to create like cults. But beyond that thing, right, the cult weirdos, right, and randos who are bizarre, as you train jiu-jitsu, bro, if you're not investigating yourself as a human being, you're losing. Meaning, look, I'm a Muslim who practices Stoicism, and I read about Taoism and Sufism, and I all kind of stuff. Okay, I'm a hippie in a lot of ways. So this stuff is interesting to me. Reading The Art of War, reading The Art of Peace, which most people don't even know exists, reading Buddhism, the Dhammapada, reading the Greek classics, reading, right, whatever, bro, ancient Egyptian things. Like, there's a guy named Anthony T. Browder. He wrote this book called From the Browder Files. He also wrote, I think, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. And the stuff that you learn about how ancient Egypt impacted the world is bonkers, right? It's not conspiracy stuff. He's a historian, right? Like, there's so much we could and should be reading, right? I'm not saying you got to pretend to be a philosopher. I'm not saying you got to pretend to be a saint. But if you're doing jiu-jitsu and you're not studying yourself, how you see the world, doesn't matter. If you're Christian, read the Bible. If you're Muslim, read the Quran. If you're Jewish, jump into the Torah and the Talmud. Get involved, right? And whatever your faith is. I'm not asking you to be different, and I'm definitely not asking you to be like me. But be yourself. And if jiu-jitsu can't train you to be yourself, what ends up happening is these dudes become abusers. They don't know what to do with themselves. Okay, I'm a black belt. That's not enough. I'm a world champion black belt. That's not enough. I'm a world champion black belt with tons of schools. That's not enough. I got viral TikToks. That's not enough. And what happens? You start taking advantage of people. You start using your students to take advantage of their love for you. You start trying to like create a little harem inside of your jiu-jitsu gym. Bro, all byproducts of what? Not having a philosophy. So it's easy to look at me and say, oh, Adisa just wants everybody to be Stoic. Oh, Adisa wants everybody to be Muslim. I'm not even telling you to be Muslim. I'm not even telling you to be a Stoic. I'm telling you to figure out who you are, because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing and why. But everybody doesn't. And if you don't take yourself seriously, you won't. And so what Dan and I were talking about was why people don't understand why they come into the gym. The first thing I ask anybody who comes into the Half Gracie Academy is why do you want to do jiu-jitsu?
That's a great place to start.
And people go everything from, oh, well, I just want to get fit, to I saw the UFC, to I listen to Rogan, bro. Like, I love Joe Rogan, right? And I just thought, you said it's cool, so I'm here, bro. And it's like, okay. And that's not a bad answer. And for some people, it's very true. I'm not hating. Yeah. However, most people are liars, bro. They don't tell you why they came in the gym. This all happened because one day I was at the Half Gracie Academy when it was closed, and this guy knocked on the window. And I was like, what's up, dude? And he's like, hey, what's up? Are you guys teaching right now? And I was like, no, the lights are out, dog. We're just chilling. I'm just cleaning up, whatever. He's like, oh, I used to train over at this gym. And, he's trying to relate to me, I'm like, cool. So why do you want to train jiu-jitsu? And he's like, oh, just trying to see what's up. And as he's talking to me, he's standing with his right leg and his right arm and his right shoulder facing me. So I can't see the left side of his face. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of talking, he's like, all right, I'm going to talk to you later. He turns to shake my hand. His face comes to me. His left ear is bleeding slowly down his neck. And I said, he just got fucked up. And he's looking for revenge on whoever fucked his ear up. Mm. And I called the owner, Professor Dorian. I said, hey, Dorian, a guy came by, ear was bleeding. If this motherfucker comes back, this is what he looks like. Do not let him train. Do not. And after that, everybody gets asked that question. And everybody comes in with the usuals. Rogan, whatever the fuck they want to say, fitness, just trying to whatever. And I was just telling my boy Tony over at Jack's, he's at Castleford Boxing.
Just keep talking.
I was like, make sure that you ask people why they want to box. And then give them about 30 to 45 days of observing their training. And then you can figure out why on your own. And I said, because like in jiu-jitsu, the guy who's kind of like jerky and half violent, you know what I mean? Like he's not really sparring, bro. He's fighting his dad who used to beat him up when he was 12. He's fighting his stepbrother who never really liked him and would like push him down the stairs. So when he's sparring, the reason he's acting that way is because he's not even present, right? This dude got knocked out at a movie theater with his girl, and he never lived it down because he was trying to protect her. He was trying to do the right thing and got beat up in front of his girl, and she left him. He's from a different, you know what I'm saying? So like you can learn, but it's going to take 45 days, 60 days for you to figure out why he's really here. You know?
Yeah.
My boxing coach, he got me just moving around the ring, and I didn't throw a single punch for about 2 sessions. We were just constantly... Bit like Lomachenko was a dancer before he was a boxer.
Right.
So similar to Bruce
I didn't
Lee.
know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so and Lomachenko's father taught Usyk. And they're very good with the feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it all comes from that. And my boxing coach were a different kind of level thinker, you know, and he did it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And he peppered me with footwork, and he peppered me with just movement. And I didn't even throw a punch, and I'm like, when am I going to throw a punch?
Yeah. Exactly. You're like, I am not yet boxing.
And I've just got my guard up, moving around the ring, moving my head. And I'm like, I feel a bit of a dick here, but, I'm just going to keep going.
Right?
But it's doing things for the right reason and the why.
Right? And allowing the foundation to be the foundation. You see what I'm saying? But people, if you don't know that student's why, it's very hard to understand how and why they spar the way they do. You see what I'm saying? So, study that why. And, like I was telling Tony, shout out to Jack's Barbershop on Street Lane. I was just like, the reality is there is no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer. If a woman comes in because she was sexually assaulted or have been raped or anything like that, yeah, that's a great reason to come to jiu-jitsu. Because you don't want to feel that and you want to protect another woman or you want to protect your kids, that is fine, right? And it's hard to be vulnerable to share those things, right? That's not, so I understand why people may guard their why. I do understand it. I'm not blaming them, right? But I'm saying if you're an instructor, or even if you're a student and the new person comes in, the new lady comes in, the new guy comes in, you got to be patient with them because you don't know their why yet. And if you don't know your own why, you can derail your own journey. If you're lying and saying it's because you want to get fit, but really, you know what I'm saying? You got knocked out at the club. Okay, then. Let's make it so you don't get knocked out. Okay, let's make sure this woman doesn't get sexually assaulted again and has a better answer for, you know what I mean, what happened. Okay, but we as instructors and teachers, and you know, if you're a higher belt, purple or up, you need to have this kind of awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not everyone has that, do they? I mean, I walked into the jiu-jitsu gym and someone said, "Oh, why are you getting into this?" I said, "I've got a bit of a deep line insecurity that I can't defend myself if it comes to it, and I want to be able to defend my kids if we're in trouble." And I just, in that moment, I just thought, wow, I've grown. Yeah. But I suppose it's having the empathy towards someone who's not at that level yet, where they can just say that.
Yeah.
And they are masking it.
Yeah.
And I suppose whatever reason they are starting is a good reason, as long as they continue on the path.
You know, and like I told Tony, I said the answer of their why doesn't really matter, as long as an instructor, you let them know that whatever their why is, you're there to support them, right? And you're gonna give them the best instruction that you can. That's your only, and you're gonna try to keep it fun, right? It's got to stay fun, right? As long as you can do those things, everything else will be fine. But if you're not really keen on what that inquiry is, and you know, whatever, like one day these two guys came in, they were talking about it was because of Rogan and stuff like that, and like I knew they weren't gonna make it. Like I knew like the roughness of it would, you know, and Hal Gracie used to have one of the roughest schools. Like we have a notorious valid, is rough, dog. If you couldn't make it, you couldn't make it. And so I was like, okay, guys, get on the mat. Here's what we're going to do. And for that very first practice, I made sure that they only stayed with each other. I didn't let any of the other guys. I worked with both of them. You guys practice that together. Because I knew that would be cool. Then I said, I'll be doing another class on Thursday. Come on Thursday morning. I'll see you guys there. I was late on Thursday. I was having car problems. Which meant they got thrown to the Sharks that day. And I remember when I walked into the gym, I could see both of them, and I was like, rough. Huh? I was like, I'm sorry I'm late, guys. They're looking like wet cats. You know? And I was like, damn. And I was like, they're not coming back. You know what I'm saying? They're not coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is like, you know, people have these cool slogans like jiu-jitsu is for everybody. And it is, but everybody's not for jiu-jitsu. Right? Like, you know, I get why certain people don't like it. I get why people don't want to do it. You know, jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but everybody is not for jiu-jitsu, man. Like, this is, you know, it takes a certain kind of mentality, a certain level of humility, a certain level of discipline and determination to walk those hot coals, you know. But it's a beautiful thing if you can find the discipline and stay with it. And that's with jiu-jitsu, boxing, karate. That's with anything. But, you know.
I agree, and I'm looking forward to continuing my journey.
That's great,
along the path.
Yeah, man.
For purposes of the podcast and for you, mate, it's now noon, so
okay,
we'll start to wrap.
Cool,
this
man.
up,
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. Next time I come out here, let's definitely do some more. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to say, like, I love the city. You know, I love London. I love Leeds. I love the Yorkshire area. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Professor Stefan Zoll. You know what I'm saying? Black Lab Jiu-Jitsu down in London. You know what I'm saying? All my Jiu-Jitsu extended fam here in and around Leeds. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. I think we've met some pretty cool people, but there's some absolute depth and flavour to you as a human being, and I really appreciate your time and taking it out for us at this stage in the year as well.
Yeah,
there's lots of things to do, people to see, and you took the time out to come and meet us. So thank you.
Well, Johnny, shout out to Johnny. Like, if he's always pointed me in the direction of good people. He's never pointed me in the direction of someone that, you know what I'm saying, like, it's been very rare that he's pointed me in the direction of somebody that I'm like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful to him. And like I said, the jiu-jitsu community is here. Shout out to IMA Leeds, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to GB Apperley Bridge. Like, there's a lot of really good people in and around here that I care about who I consider extended family legit. So, anytime I come back, let's kick it and do more.
Absolutely.
Let's
If
roll.
you come to the Bay,
Oh, yeah.
come through.
Yes,
Come
please.
to the west side, my friend.
Yes, please,
Come
bro.
to the west side. That's anybody in Leeds who does jiu-jitsu. Come to the west side.
Yeah.
Come kick it. You know what I'm saying?
This has
It'll
been
be
a
good.
pleasure, mate, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been something completely different, and you were right, I loved it.
Oh, before I go,
Yes.
Substack, Bishop Chronicles, Instagram at Bishop Chronicles, and you're specifically more interested in the chess side of things at Real, the number 64 blocks. So me and Raka from Dilated Peoples, we have this new thing called 64 blocks, right? Because there's 64 squares on a chessboard, right? And we teach jiu-jitsu, chess, and meditation, right? And so, like, come through, get that. And I put a book out a bunch of years ago called Bobby Bruce in the Bronx, The Secrets of Hip Hop Chess. If anybody DMs me, I'll just send you a PDF for it. Don't buy the book. Don't buy it. It's got a few flaws in it, grammatically or whatever, but, like, it's a badass book, and there's crazy hip-hop interviews. I got dope jiu-jitsu interviews. I think Riz is in there and stuff like that.
Sick.
So, like, a lot of stuff about jiu-jitsu and strategy and stuff like that. So I'll send you a free copy, a free link to that so you can have it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All
bro.
right,
Thank
gents.
you.
We've got
Stay
a
blessed.
parting gift for you.
What? I love gifts.
So you've mentioned Miyamoto Musashi a few
Yeah.
times. One of my pals who wants to stay anonymous.
Okay.
By the way.
Okay.
has started this brand
Okay.
called 61 Jewels
All right.
after the 61 undefeated jewels of Miyamoto Musashi.
That's so fresh.
Um,
And do you know what? Thank you for this, first of all. And I'll tell you this. Miyamoto Musashi was a dancer. Miyamoto Musashi did what they call Japanese no dancing, N-O-H. It's like a theatric form of stage dancing. And he was incredible at it. And it doesn't seem that anybody knows how he learned to do it. Nobody really seems to know how he learned to do it, or I haven't figured out from any of my research how he learned how to do it. But he had an adopted son who he taught this dancing to. And he wrote a letter to, like, a shogun or something. And he was like, look, my son, he's not much with a sword, but he is a really good dancer. And he would be good for your court, da-da-da-da. And I was just like, damn, this dude was incredible.
Yeah.
Self-taught, then does the no dancing, then, right? And then if you look at his book, The Book of Five Rings, you totally understand why he was so good and why the Book of Five Rings references rhythm so much. Because I was like, what is this guy with his sword? When I first read the Book of Five Rings, like, what does a guy with a sword know about rhythm?
Yeah. Exactly.
He was a dancer.
Exactly.
So thank you for this. I can't wait. I'll be rocking it.
That's all right, bro.
All right?
All right, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. One love.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank you. Yep.
Yes.
That was great, dudes.
Yes.